cyber attacks, we can speak live with Ian Camphouse, Lead Information Security Advisor with Brunel. Thank you very much indeed for joining us then, Ian. So how big of an attack are we talking about here? I mean, is this something really extraordinary or just the work of an anonymous hacking group looking for some ways to make some money?
It could be literally just one of the more successful criminal enterprises. I mean, cryptolockers and these kinds of crimes are happening all the time and have been for many years. And it could be that this particular tool for that kind of crime is just slightly more effective than many of the other ones. And it seems to spread very quickly. It appears, as I understand from reports as well, that it is using some of the vulnerabilities that were purposefully built into Windows systems, at the instructions of the NSA. And then, of course, information about those vulnerabilities were lost by the NSA and fell into public hands, including in the hands of criminals who now appear to be using them. So this could be literally nothing more than just a very successful criminal enterprise. It could also be something else. I would venture that many victims, tonight or maybe even before, won't, publicly announce the fact that they have been victimized. So whatever number we hear on systems infected or organizations infected could be easily an order of magnitude below the actual number. We just don't know.
Well, let's look at some of those targets. I mean, we've seen hospitals in the UK, even up to Russia's Ministry of Internal Affairs. They've all been hit. I mean, is it strange that we have such a wide range of targets?
No, if the distribution of the systems happens in an automated fashion, then it doesn't necessarily have to follow a very specific pattern. It could just go all over the place. It could use address books it finds on various PCs to send itself to other places, as other worms and viruses have done in the past. So again, this is nothing new. It is interesting, actually, that a Russian ministry is a victim, because other parts of the Russian government have moved away from the Windows operating system precisely to prevent these kinds of problems, as they would, then endanger the national security of Russia. But apparently some parts of the Russian government still are running Windows and are now a victim of this attack.
Well, is it then possible to trace the people who are responsible? Is it possible to trace the perpetrators?
It might be possible once a proper analysis is done of the software. So, as for instance, groups like Kaspersky have done in the past with, for instance, the Stuxnet virus, but that could take quite a lot of time. It's also possible, if the people who built this and who deployed this, were careful, that it will never be able to be accurately determined. So right now we just know it will require a detailed analysis of the software, and that's just going to take days and maybe weeks and months.
Well, looking at what they've apparently demanded, it's ought to be in Bitcoin. Why is that? Well, the idea being that a Bitcoin transaction is easier to sort of make anonymous than, say, a normal credit card transaction or something like that. So it is an attempt to hide some of the sort of financial paper trail that always results out of any financial transaction in sort of more classical currencies. Although Bitcoin itself, of course, is not entirely anonymous. So again, maybe if the criminals who are doing this are not careful enough in extracting the money at some point, they will be found that way. Because often, if criminals in the digital space get caught, it's not because of some crypto magic, but it's because they slipped up in a much more sort of mundane side of the criminal work, such as extracting the money at the end of a thing like this. I have to leave it there. Ian Camphouse, Information Security Advisor, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.